Hey guys, how are you all doing? It's been a busy old day today. I hope you've all had a good start to your week. It's been one of those days really. I don't know where the time has gone, but I did put out some questions on Instagram earlier for you guys to submit, and I am going to take a few minutes now to answer them. I should warn you that I have the dinner cooking next door, chili con carne. Yeah. So if it beeps and I have to go and answer it, you'll have to forgive me. Anyhow, so thanks for sending in your questions. My colleagues have selected a few for me to answer, and they've sent me to them here. So I'm just going to kick right off. The first one is from Dujmovic. Do you think BTC is the best bet until we see what regulations will look like? Not financial advice, of course. Of course. Yeah, what's interesting is that just in the last couple of days or so, the chairman of the CFTC came out and reiterated that he believed BTC was basically the only commodity in crypto. Now, you might remember that not all that long ago, he said that BTC and ETH were the only commodities in crypto. And that change of tone is kind of worrying. So, yeah, on a lot of levels, BTC, I think, is really the safe haven crypto at times like this. Regulators, they may want to try and regulate it out of existence, but they can't. But unfortunately, all the altcoins, and that includes ETH, are a lot more vulnerable to regulations than BTC. So I think, yeah, if you're looking for... I mean, there's no such thing as a safe bet in crypto. That's all part of the fun, isn't it? But if you are looking for, a sort of safer haven in crypto, then BTC, I think, is your best bet. Having said that, at the moment, it's probably good to just be holding a lot of fiat and waiting to deploy that when prices drop further, as I think they probably will. Okay, Ben Lingard 18 asks, why do you think, even though bear markets are expected, crypto projects never seem prepared for it? That is a very good question. Very good question. I was thinking something along those lines back when Coinbase was forced to lay off a whole load of employees a few months ago. And I think I remember saying at the time, it's like, well, if they knew a bear market was coming, why did they hire so many people in the first place, even if they had to let them go? And unfortunately, Coinbase aren't the only ones to have done that. It's been kind of endemic across the industry. I don't know. I suppose a lot of it is just about trying to build as quickly as you can, make hay while the sun shines, take advantage of the good times, and then deal with the bad times as best you can. But it's a very good question. I'm not sure I have a full answer to that. I'm going to have to think about that a lot more. Thank you, Ben. Surior1999 asks, is Andre Cronje back in Fantom team? It certainly looks like it, doesn't it? Andre was quoted, I remember seeing an article in Crypto Slate last week that apparently was talking about how Fantom had pumped recently, and that was because Andre had been talking about how DeFi had been really good for Fantom, talking about Fantom's treasury as well. So it does look as though he is back in the Fantom family for the time being, which is obviously very good news. He's one of the most talented developers in all of DeFi. The question is, will he stay there or will he head off again? Because, Andre, he does tend to sort of come and go, doesn't he? Mihai Kodrin 520 asks, what skills does a crypto investor need? Good question again. I think the first skill is patience. You've got to be not only patient to dig through the research, dig through all the information that you can find about a crypto project before investing in it, but you've also then got to wait out weeks, months, sometimes years of poor price action before that investment can come good. And we're in one of those periods at the moment. Lots of people invested in some quality projects in just a few months ago when prices were higher than they are now. And those projects have all taken a dip in terms of price. And it's a question with a lot of them of waiting that out for things to pick up again. So patience is a first factor. I think curiosity, that's one that's overlooked as well. I think a lot of people tend to just hear about a crypto project. They might hear someone on YouTube or somewhere else say, this is a good project because this, and this, and go, yeah, okay, sounds good to me, I'll invest. Whereas actually, I think the real winners are the curious, are the ones who go, okay, Well, I'll find out for myself and dig deep, because there's always more information to be unearthed. There's always little snippets that we miss. So I think curiosity is a really big and possibly quite underrated skill for a crypto investor as well. And you've also got to have conviction, or I suppose another way of putting it would be you've got to have a thick skin, because especially if you spend any time on crypto Twitter or crypto subreddit or anything like that, you're going to see the project that you've invested in, the project that you think is brilliant, you're going to see it trashed. Maybe you're the sort of person who likes to get into arguments with other users and have endless back and forth about the merits of one particular crypto project over another. And it can be pretty exhausting. And you've basically got to be able to say to yourself, I believe in this project despite what everyone else is saying, because you will hear a lot of negativity about it, because crypto is such a tribal place. So many people are so invested in these projects, not just financially, but also emotionally as well, I think. And you've got to be prepared to put up with some pretty strident opinions that very well may differ from your own. And I think the final skill you've got to have as a crypto investor, it's not really a skill, but you've just got to be interested in other things, because I don't think it's any sort of life to be sat there looking at the crypto charts every minute, every hour of the day. You've got to be able to get out, enjoy fresh air, enjoy the company of friends and family, enjoy your hobbies, enjoy whatever else it is you do, because crypto is amazing, but it shouldn't be the be-all and end-all of absolutely everything in your life. Okay, Gary Reed Music asks the question that's on everyone's lips: when hamburger? Gary, if I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here. Rithik Prasad asks, wow, this is a question I didn't see coming. Will you launch a hardware wallet of your own? Well, Rithik, I must say that thought had never occurred to me before. Possibly because there are loads of good hardware wallets out there. I don't think I've got anything in particular to bring to the hardware wallet space. That said, if anyone from Ledger, Trezor, any of the other big wallet manufacturers, if anyone out there wants to design and build a hardware wallet that is shaped like my head, I will 100% get behind that project, endorse it as much as you need me to. Because that really would be a dream come true. Is that what you meant, Rithik? Probably not. Okay. NK Nashiket asks, buying the lowest dip versus dollar cost averaging. NK, well, I mean, buying the lowest dip would be great if we knew when that lowest dip was, because we can't tell, can we? Anyone who has that skill is God mode trader. So I think dollar cost averaging is much the better idea than trying to time the lowest lows, because very few people manage it, and the ones that do most often get pretty lucky. So yeah, dollar cost averaging, for those who don't know, it's just putting in the same amount of money at a regular interval into crypto, regardless of the market conditions. So for instance, you could put in $50 on the first day of every month, absolutely religiously, regardless of anything that's going on in the markets. And that strategy has been shown over time to be equal to or better than any of these other trading strategies. So do bear that in mind, folks. Something I often tend to do is to dollar cost average over time, but I do keep something back for when I see a particular dip, for when I think we could be heading for a particular low. So that can be a kind of a good way of, having a foot in both camps, as it were. But dollar cost averaging on the whole works most of the time and is a lot more stress-free, is a lot less hassle. You can just set it and get on with it. It's an underrated investment strategy. Okay, Cat Quantum. That name sounds familiar. Do you think we will see our money back from FTX? I would love to be able to give you a more positive answer here, but, well, for context, it's something that's been in the news over the last few days is the fact that the money from Mt. Gox, which went down 8 years ago, that may finally be distributed sometime in January next year. So that's going to be nearly 9 years after the fact. So we still don't know where all the money from FTX has gone. That's what FTX's new CEO and all these bankruptcy lawyers are busy trying to find out. So I'm not going to give you any hopium here. I don't think FTX users will see 100 cents on the dollar back in any way, shape or form. They may get some money back. I don't know how much, what sort of proportion of their money. I do know it will be a long time from now though. Dirkules, great name, asks, how can the crypto blockchain community halt CBDCs? Well, short answer is we can't. We can't stop them, but we can fight back against them, and the best way to do that is to invest in cryptos, to hedge yourself against these currencies. And I think as we see more CBDCs rolled out, and remember, India is now trialing its CBDC, China's got one trial, but there are almost 100 central banks around the world working on CBDCs and at some stage of their development. The only way that you can push back against them is to buy cryptos, to buy Bitcoin, is to give yourself a hedge against them. So I think we're going to see a lot of that as more CBDCs get rolled out, as the governments that are rolling them out crack down on crypto in order to eliminate the competition. That's when I think we're going to see a lot more crypto investment from people who realize the danger that CBDCs pose to us all. Z Somborvizi asks, do you think 2023 will be a good year to accumulate small cap altcoins? That is certainly how I see it at the moment. I am going to be waiting, I think, first of all, I don't think the bottom's in. I think that could come towards the end of this year or early next year. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that. I think prices have further to fall from here. And then 2023, it is going to be a long period of either trading sideways or very, very gradual gains over time as we build towards what I think will be an improvement in market conditions, probably early 2024. So short answer is, I think 2023 could well be a good time to start accumulating, but you don't need to rush. You need to take the time to do your research because it's going to be a long year, folks. That when things are trading sideways, time tends to really drag in the crypto space. So don't feel that as soon as we tick over onto the 1st of January, it's time to start accumulating. I've got to get all my spare cash into crypto straight away. No, you have got time. You can do this nice and slow. Can you explain why Bitcoin going to 8K would be bad? I don't get it. It was lower than that before. And that's from Dacian PG. Okay, well, that is a good question because I know that there are a lot of people out there waiting desperately for BTC and other cryptos to go lower so they can accumulate. And one of the most interesting things to have noticed over the past week or so is this data from Glassnode, which shows how Bitcoin shrimps, that's people who hold 1 BTC or less, and Bitcoin crabs, those who hold between 1 and 10 BTC, they have been accumulating a heck of a lot of Bitcoin over the month since FTX went down. So there are a lot of people waiting to get in. And I must say, I think this is a good thing. Any kind of redistribution of BTC to smaller holders is definitely good. However, there are a lot of dangers inherent if BTC does go that low. For one thing, it will pose a threat to the security of the Bitcoin network because a lot of miners are going to be wiped out. Now, 15K has been talked about as the kind of miner tipping point, and we've hovered around that area briefly, in the last few weeks or so. So if it does plunge below there, we could see a lot of miners go bust. And as miners leave, then there's less hash power being committed to the Bitcoin network, and that means less security. And that means there could be more centralization of Bitcoin's hash power to those bigger miners. And of course, that could present an opportunity for something like, an entity like a national government to try and buy up, enough mining power, enough computing power to launch a 51% attack on the Bitcoin network. I think that is very, very unlikely, but it is still a possibility. The lower BTC's price goes, the more miners go underwater, and the more the integrity of the Bitcoin network, the security of it, is threatened. There's also the fact now, I'm not a fan of leverage trading, and I don't recommend it to anyone. Unfortunately, if Bitcoin does go that low, then a lot of leverage traders will be liquidated, and It's no point saying I told you so. It's a fact of life. Those liquidations tend to drive BTC's price even lower as well. So, and also by that point, we could, of course, see a complete loss of confidence in the crypto market. You're absolutely right, Dacian. Bitcoin has gone a lot lower than 8K before. And I think if it does go to that level, then we will see a lot of accumulation and we will see it recover. But we could also see a lot of people really lose heart. And market confidence is an important factor. And if we get this sense that other traders are capitulating, that again could drive it lower. So although an 8K BTC is an attractive prospect for a lot of investors, especially smaller investors, I think, there are still a lot of dangers in that price point. Last question is from sorry, I have no idea how that's pronounced. What are your thoughts on England and Wales fans fighting in Tenerife? Wow, okay. Absolutely nothing to do with crypto. This is as those of you who aren't familiar with football might be aware. Football fans quite often like to fight with each other, and England fans are particularly notorious for that. I'm not sure Wales fans are quite as bad. What are my thoughts on England-Wales fans fighting in Tenerife? Can't they just enjoy their holidays? Anyhow, folks, that's enough questions for today. Thank you so much for sending all those in. Please do keep them coming next time I put up a Q&A on Instagram. Lots more stuff coming your way from Coin Bureau this week, so please do stay tuned. I am off to finish cooking my chili.